Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, watching the radar screen with steady eyes. The green dots moving across the display represented something humanity had dreamed about for centuries: first contact with alien life. But these weren't the peaceful explorers from old movies. These were the Zephyrian Empire, and they had come to judge whether humans deserved to live among the stars. "Sir, we're getting more signals from their lead ship," reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim from her station. "They're still demanding we power down our weapons and prepare for inspection." Jake nodded but didn't move from his position. Behind him, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. Everyone knew this moment would change everything. The alien fleet had appeared at the edge of the solar system 3 days ago, and their message had been clear: humanity would be tested on Earth. Admiral Lisa Campbell was having the most important meeting of her career. The Situation Room was packed with military leaders, scientists, and government officials. President Helen Davis sat at the head of the table, looking tired but determined. "Tell me again what we know about them," President Davis said, looking at the intelligence report in front of her. Dr. Amy Richardson, Earth's top expert on alien life, cleared her throat. "The Zephyrian Empire controls 12 different species across 47 star systems. They've been watching us for decades, maybe longer. From what we can tell, they see us as a young species that might be dangerous if left alone. And they think we're primitive," added Professor Kevin Clark, the linguist who had been working on translating their messages. "Their communications suggest they believe our technology is basic. They call our nuclear engines crude and our weapons simple toys." Admiral Campbell leaned forward. "That's exactly what we want them to think. Operation Underdog is our only chance to learn about them without starting a war we might not be able to win." The plan was simple but dangerous. For years, Earth's military had been developing technology that was far beyond anything the public knew about. Quantum weapons, dimensional shields, and faster-than-light engines that could cross the galaxy in days instead of months. But the aliens couldn't know about any of it. "Not yet. We show them what they expect to see," Admiral Campbell continued. "Old fusion reactors, plasma weapons from 20 years ago, and ships that look like they barely hold together. We play the part of a species that's just learning to walk among the stars." President Davis nodded slowly. "And if they decide we're too dangerous anyway?" "Then we stop pretending," Admiral Campbell said quietly. Back on the UES Defiant, Jake was preparing for the most important performance of his life. The ship around him looked impressive to human eyes, but it was actually one of their older vessels, retrofitted with fake technology readings and hidden advanced systems. The real defenses were buried so deep that even his own crew didn't know about them. "Captain Hayes is requesting permission to move his fleet into position," Lieutenant Kim reported. Jake looked at the tactical display. Captain Ryan Hayes commanded the Earth Defense Fleet, a collection of ships that looked like humanity's best but were actually decades behind their true capabilities. Each vessel had been carefully modified to appear primitive, while hiding sensors that could track a grain of sand across the solar system. "Tell Captain Hayes to proceed, but remind him about the rules of engagement," Jake said. "We're not here to fight, we're here to learn." The alien fleet was massive. 12 ships, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built, or so it seemed. Their hulls were smooth and dark, covered in weapons that hummed with unknown energy. But Dr. Patricia Wells, watching from her hidden laboratory deep inside the UES Defiant, was already analyzing their technology through sensors the aliens couldn't detect. "Their shields are impressive but not perfect," she reported to Chief Engineer Tom Baker through a secure channel. "And their weapons are powerful, but they're using principles we understood 50 years ago. They're not as advanced as they think they are." Tom nodded, making notes on his tablet. "That's good news, but we still need to be careful. One mistake, and they'll know we're not what we seem." The first alien message came through the translation system Professor Clark had set up. The voice was strange, with sounds that didn't quite match human speech, but the meaning was clear enough. "Primitive humans of the third planet, we are the Zephyrian Empire. We have observed your species for many cycles and have decided you may be ready to join the galactic community. You will demonstrate your technology and military capabilities. If you prove worthy, you may be granted limited membership in the Galactic Council. If you prove dangerous, you will be contained or eliminated. President. Davis listened to the message in the White House Situation Room. Around her, military advisors shifted uncomfortably. The alien tone was condescending, like adults talking to children who might be playing with dangerous toys. Dr. Richardson, what's your assessment? President Davis asked. They're testing us, but not in the way they think, Dr. Richardson replied. They believe they're the advanced species teaching a primitive one. They have no idea that we've been preparing for this moment for decades. The meeting at Luna Station was set for the next day. Humanity would present their best technology to the alien delegation. Dr. Richardson would lead the presentation, showing them fusion reactors, plasma weapons, and basic artificial intelligence systems. All of it was real, but all of it was also obsolete by current human standards. Remember, Admiral Campbell told her team, act impressed by their technology. Ask questions that make us seem curious but not threatening. Show them we're eager to learn, not eager to fight. As the meeting time approached, Jake stood on his bridge watching the alien ships move into position around Luna Station. They moved. With confidence, certain they were dealing with a species that posed no real threat to galactic peace, if only they knew the truth. The ships they were looking at represented less than 1% of humanity's real military power. The weapons they would see tomorrow were toys compared to what was hidden in secret facilities across the solar system. And the humans they would meet were playing roles in the most important deception in human history. The future of both species might depend on how well they could pretend to be something they weren't. Jake Morrison took a deep breath and prepared to give the performance of a lifetime. The aliens were about to learn what they expected to learn about humanity. The question was whether humanity would learn enough about them to survive what was coming. Luna Station had never seen anything like this before. The massive alien shuttle approached the docking bay with smooth, silent movements that made the human engineers nervous. Dr. Amy Richardson stood in the main conference room, checking her notes one final time. Today she would lie to the most advanced species humanity had ever encountered, and the future of Earth depended on how well she could do it. Remember, act impressed but not scared, she whispered to her team. We're curious humans who want to learn, not a threat they need to eliminate. The Zephyrian delegation entered the room with an air of superiority that was hard to miss. Their leader, High Commander Vexthal, was tall and thin with pale blue skin and eyes that seemed to glow in the station's lighting. Behind him came 3 other aliens, each from a different species within the Zephyrian Empire. One looked like a walking tree, another had scales like a snake, and the third seemed to be made of living crystal. Greetings, humans, Vexthal said, through the translation device. His voice sounded bored, like a teacher talking to slow students. We are here to observe your primitive achievements. Show us what you believe to be your greatest accomplishments. Dr. Richardson smiled and gestured toward the first display. We're honored by your visit, Commander. This is our latest fusion. Reactor design. It can power an entire city for months. The alien leader looked at the reactor with mild interest. Through hidden sensors, Dr. Patricia Wells watched from her concealed laboratory as the aliens scanned the device. Their technology was impressive, but not beyond human understanding. More importantly, they were completely fooled by the fake readings the reactor was producing. Adequate for a developing species, Vexthal commented. Your understanding of nuclear fusion is basic but functional. In time, you may advance to more efficient energy sources. What he didn't know was that humanity had moved beyond fusion decades ago. The real power sources on Luna Station were hidden quantum reactors that could generate more energy than the aliens had ever seen. But those systems were buried deep underground, shielded by technology that made them invisible to any scanner. This is our defensive plasma cannon, Dr. Richardson continued, leading the group to the next display. It can destroy incoming missiles and damage enemy ships at close range. The crystal alien stepped forward and studied the weapon carefully. Crude, But effective, it said in a voice like breaking glass. Your species shows promise in weapons development, though you are still limited by primitive power sources. Chief Engineer Tom Baker watched from the observation deck above. The plasma cannon was real, but it was based on 20-year-old technology that humanity had replaced with quantum disruptors. The aliens were examining a museum piece and treating it like cutting-edge science. Our artificial intelligence system can process data and help with navigation, Dr. Richardson said, showing them a computer terminal. We call it the Navigation and Analysis Computer. The tree-like alien touched the terminal with a branch-like appendage. Simple but adequate. Your digital minds are limited, but they serve basic functions well enough. Professor Kevin Clark, standing nearby, had to work hard not to smile. The AI they were showing was indeed simple compared to the quantum consciousness networks humanity had developed. The real AI systems were so advanced they could simulate entire civilizations in their spare time. In the hidden control room, Captain Ryan Hayes monitored the entire meeting through concealed cameras. His ships were positioned around Luna Station, looking like a basic defense fleet. But each vessel was packed with sensors that were learning everything about alien technology. Their shields operate on a frequency rotation system, reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim. Our quantum sensors can track the pattern changes. And their weapons? Captain Hayes asked. Powerful, but they use linear energy projection. Our dimensional barriers could deflect them easily. The aliens continued their inspection, examining human spacesuits, communication systems, and medical equipment. Everything they saw confirmed their beliefs about humanity's primitive nature. They made notes and commented among themselves about how young the human species was. Your faster-than-light travel is particularly crude, Vexthal said when they reached the engine display. Nuclear pulse propulsion is an elementary method. Most species abandon it within a few centuries of first contact. We're still learning, Dr. Richardson replied humbly. Perhaps your people could teach us better methods. The scaled alien hissed what might have been laughter. In time, perhaps, if you prove worthy of membership in the galactic community, you may be granted access to more advanced technologies. Deep in the station's core, Dr. Wells was recording everything. The aliens' casual dismissal of human technology was perfect. They had no idea that humanity's real FTL drives could cross the galaxy in days, not months. The transspatial engines were so advanced that they could open doorways between distant star systems. They're buying it completely, she reported to Tom Baker. They think we're exactly what we appear to be. Good, Tom replied. Now we need to make sure they stay convinced. The tour continued for 3 hours. The aliens examined every piece of technology with the patience of scientists studying an interesting but harmless species. They asked questions about human biology, culture, and history. Dr. Richardson answered honestly when she could, but always in ways that made humanity seem less threatening. Your species reproduces slowly and has limited lifespans, Vexthal observed. This explains your cautious approach to expansion. We prefer to be careful, Dr. Richardson agreed. We don't want to make mistakes that could hurt others. This seemed to please the aliens. They made more notes and continued their inspection. None of them noticed the quantum sensors hidden in the walls, recording their every movement and analyzing their technology. None of them realized that their own ship was being scanned by systems far more advanced than anything they possessed. As the meeting came to an end, High Commander Vexthal addressed the human delegation. You have shown us adequate progress for a primitive species. Your technology is limited but functional. Your military capabilities are basic but not immediately threatening. He paused, studying the humans with his glowing eyes. We will recommend to the Galactic Council that humanity be granted provisional membership. However, there must be restrictions on your military development and expansion. You are not yet ready for full independence. Dr. Richardson bowed slightly. We understand, Commander. We're grateful for any opportunity to learn from more advanced species. The aliens prepared to leave, satisfied with their assessment. They had seen exactly what they expected to see: a young species with basic technology and limited military power. They had no idea that the humans they had just met were playing roles in the most important deception in galactic history. As the alien shuttle departed Luna Station, Captain Hayes opened a secure channel to Admiral Campbell on Earth. Phase 1 complete. They believe we're exactly what we appear to be. Excellent, Admiral Campbell replied. Now we wait for their next move, and we keep learning everything we can about them. The deception had begun and humanity had passed the first test, but the real challenge was just beginning. Captain Ryan Hayes stared at the tactical display on the bridge of the UES Guardian. 3 Zephyrian warships hung in space like dark metal sharks, their weapons powered and ready. This was the test High Commander Vexthal had promised. A combat simulation to prove humanity's military worth. But Hayes knew the real test was much more dangerous than the aliens realized. All ships remember the plan, Hayes said into his communication device. We fight with the weapons they've seen. Nothing more, nothing less. Around him, 5 human vessels moved into formation. The UES Guardian, UES Defender, UES Ranger, UES Vigilant, and UES Sentinel. To alien eyes, they looked like humanity's finest warships. In reality, they were outdated vessels filled with fake technology and hidden sensors. Their real weapons were powered down and concealed behind holographic projections. Sir, the Zephyrian lead ship is hailing us, reported communications. Officer Lisa Park, put them through, Hayes ordered. High Commander Vexthal's image appeared on the main screen. Human Captain, this exercise will test your species' ability to defend itself and others. My ships will attack as if in real combat. You must prove you can protect your territory and allies. Hayes nodded respectfully. We understand, Commander. We'll do our best. The alien leader's expression was almost amused. Your best may not be enough. Our ships are equipped with weapons and defenses far beyond your current capabilities. This will be a valuable learning experience for your species. The connection ended, and Hayes turned to his crew. You heard him, time to put on a show. In the hidden control room deep inside the Guardian, Dr. Patricia Wells monitored the real situation. Advanced quantum sensors tracked every movement of the alien ships. Their weapons were powerful but predictable. Their shields operated on patterns that humanity had already figured out. Most importantly, their combat tactics were standard and unimaginative. They're moving into attack formation, she reported to the bridge through a secure channel. Their lead ship will try to disable us first, then move on to the others. Perfect, Hayes replied. Let them think they're winning. The battle began with a flash of alien energy weapons. The first Zephyrian ship fired a beam that would have destroyed any real human vessel of the type they were pretending to be. But the Guardian's hidden defenses absorbed the impact while generating fake damage readings. Hull breach on Deck 7, shouted Lieutenant Mike Chung, playing his part perfectly. We're losing power to the main engines. Hayes gripped his captain's chair as the ship shook from artificial turbulence. Emergency power to shields. Return fire with plasma cannons. The Guardian's fake plasma weapons struck the alien ship's shields, causing minor damage that made the aliens feel superior. Meanwhile, quantum sensors analyzed every aspect of the alien vessel's construction and defensive systems. Colonel Steve Martin commanded the UES Defender, the second ship in the formation. His vessel appeared to take heavy damage from the alien attack, with fake explosions and emergency lighting flickering on the bridge. We're taking heavy casualties, Martin reported over the communication channel, his voice filled with fake panic. Their weapons are too strong. But in his hidden command center, Martin was calmly directing the collection of alien technology data. Every shot the aliens fired taught humanity something new about their weapons and power systems. The third alien ship targeted Captain Nancy Foster's vessel, the UES Ranger. Foster was one of humanity's best pilots, but today she had to pretend to be overwhelmed by alien superiority. They're targeting our weapons systems, Foster called out as her ship spun away from an alien energy beam. I can't maintain this course much longer. The fake damage to her ship looked completely real. Sparks flew from control panels, and sections of the hull appeared to be breaking away. But hidden deep inside the Ranger, advanced repair systems were already analyzing the alien weapons and developing countermeasures on Earth. Admiral Lisa Campbell watched the battle from the Strategic Command Center. President Helen Davis stood beside her, both women knowing that this staged combat was actually humanity's first real intelligence-gathering mission against an alien military force. "How are they doing?" President Davis asked quietly. "Better than we hoped," Admiral Campbell replied. "The aliens are showing us everything, their weapons, their tactics, their weaknesses. By the time this is over, we'll know how to defeat them if we ever need to." Director Paul Green of the Strategic Defense Initiative was coordinating the real mission from his hidden facility. Teams of scientists and engineers analyzed every piece of data coming from the fake battle. "Their energy weapons are impressive, but inefficient," reported Dr. Wells. "They waste 70% of their power output. Our quantum disruptors could cut through their shields like paper. And their ship designs?" Green asked. "Strong but inflexible. They're built for fighting enemies with similar technology. They have no defenses against dimensional weapons or transspatial attacks." Back in space, the battle was reaching its climax. The human ships appeared to be losing badly. The U-Sentinel was drifting powerless, its fake distress signals making. It seemed like a sitting duck. The U's Vigilant was spinning out of control, its artificial damage readings showing critical system failures. "This is Captain Hayes to all ships," Ryan called out, his voice strained but determined. "We're taking heavy losses, but we can't give up. Focus all remaining power on weapons and try to disable their lead ship." The final phase of the battle was the most dangerous part of the deception. The human ships had to appear to win, but just barely. Too easy, and the aliens would be suspicious. Too hard, and they might decide humanity was too weak to be worth protecting. Hayes coordinated the fake victory with precise timing. The 5 human ships concentrated their plasma weapons on the lead alien vessel, causing just enough damage to make it withdraw. The other 2 alien ships followed, their mission apparently complete. "Excellent work, human captain," Vexthal said when communications were restored. "Your species shows courage and determination. You fought well against superior technology." Hayes managed to look both proud and humble. "Thank you, Commander. We learned a lot from this exercise." "Indeed," the alien leader replied. "Your ships are damaged, but your spirit is strong. This is good. The Galactic Council will be pleased with your performance." As the alien ships departed, Hayes finally allowed himself to relax. The deception had worked perfectly. The aliens believed they had seen humanity's best effort and found it adequate but not threatening. "Mission accomplished," he reported to Admiral Campbell. "They think we're brave but primitive. They have no idea what we're really capable of." In the hidden laboratories throughout the human fleet, scientists were already processing the massive amount of data they had collected. They now knew more about Zephyrian military technology than the aliens suspected. Most importantly, they had confirmed that humanity's hidden weapons were far more advanced than anything the galactic community possessed. The test was over, and humanity had passed with flying colors, but the real test was yet to come. Soon, the aliens would offer Earth membership in the Galactic Council, with restrictions that would limit human military development. The question was how long humanity could maintain the deception while preparing for whatever challenges lay ahead. The battle had been fake, but the knowledge gained was very real. And that knowledge might someday save both species from a threat none of them could imagine. Ambassador Claire Roberts walked through the corridors of the Galactic Council station, her footsteps echoing in the vast alien architecture. 6 months had passed since humanity's successful test, and now she represented Earth in the most important diplomatic mission in human history. The station was enormous, built by a dozen different species over centuries, and it made her feel very small. "Remember, you're representing a young species that's eager to learn," Deputy Secretary Frank Moore whispered as they approached the council chamber. "Curious but not threatening. Grateful but not submissive." Claire nodded, adjusting the translation device attached to her collar. Today's session would determine humanity's final status in the galactic community. The Zephyrian Empire had recommended limited membership, but the decision belonged to all 12 species of the Galactic Council inside the chamber. Representatives from across the galaxy sat in a circle around a holographic display of known space. Claire had studied each species carefully, learning their customs and weaknesses. The Kaleri were logical but slow to make decisions. The Threnody were warriors who respected strength. The Mistani were traders who valued profit above all else. The human delegation will now present their case, announced Council Speaker Zethmar, a tall being with silver skin and 4 arms. Ambassador Roberts, you may begin. Claire stood and activated her prepared presentation. Images of Earth appeared in the hologram, showing cities, farmlands, and space stations. Everything looked appropriately primitive by galactic standards. Honored Council members, humanity is grateful for this opportunity to join the galactic community, she began. We are a young species, eager to learn from our more advanced neighbors. We offer our friendship and our commitment to peace. The presentation showed Earth's fake technology, the fusion reactors, plasma weapons, and basic artificial intelligence that had fooled the Zephyrians. Hidden cameras recorded every reaction from the alien council members. Your species shows promise, commented Representative Vorth of the Kaleri. But your technology is limited. What can you contribute to the galactic community? Claire smiled humbly. We may not have advanced technology, but we have determination and creativity. We're willing to work hard and learn from others. On Earth, Dr. Amy Richardson was conducting her own careful performance. 3 alien scientists had come to study human biology and culture. They were fascinated by humanity's primitive but effective approach to medicine, technology, and social organization. Your neural structure is surprisingly complex for such a young species, observed Dr. Klenth, a Zephyrian biologist. Your brains process information in ways we have not seen before. Richardson nodded, pretending to be flattered. We've always been good at solving problems in unusual ways. Maybe that's why we survived long enough to reach the stars. What Dr. Klenth didn't know was that human neural enhancement technology was centuries ahead of anything the aliens possessed. Richardson herself had cognitive implants that allowed her to process information at superhuman speeds. But the scanners showed only normal human brain activity. Your social structures are also interesting, added Dr. Vexani, a crystalline being who studied alien cultures. You have managed to create a unified planetary government despite your diverse populations. It took us a long time to learn how to work together, Richardson replied. We made many mistakes along the way. The aliens took notes and asked questions, never realizing that every word they spoke was being recorded and analyzed. Colonel Steve Martin's intelligence team had sensors hidden throughout the research facility, learning everything about alien biology, technology, and psychology. In space, Captain Ryan Hayes was having his own educational experience. His fleet now included 2 Zephyrian ships and 1 vessel from the crystal-based Mistani. The aliens were teaching human crews how to operate advanced technology, never suspecting that the humans were actually studying their weaknesses. Your ship's power systems are very efficient, Hayes told Commander Yolf, the Zephyrian officer in charge of technology transfer. Our engineers are amazed by how much energy you can generate. Commander Yolf seemed pleased by the compliment. This reactor design is quite old by our standards, but it should serve your primitive vessels well. In time, perhaps you will be ready for more advanced systems. Hayes nodded enthusiastically while secretly thinking about the quantum reactors hidden in human ships. The alien technology was impressive, but it was like comparing a candle to the sun when measured against humanity's real capabilities. Could you show us how your weapons targeting works? Hayes asked, playing the role of an eager student. The alien was happy to demonstrate, not knowing that hidden sensors were recording every detail. Within hours, human engineers would know exactly how to jam, disable, or destroy these weapons. Systems. Chief Engineer Tom Baker was having similar success with the Mistani vessel. The crystal beings were proud of their ship's defensive systems, and were eager to show them off to their primitive human colleagues. Our shields can absorb tremendous amounts of energy, boasted Engineer Cathara, her crystal body glowing with satisfaction. Your plasma weapons could not penetrate these barriers. Amazing, Baker replied, studying the control panels with fake wonder. How do you maintain such powerful fields? As Cathara explained the technology, Baker's hidden implants recorded every detail. The Mistani shields were strong but predictable. Human quantum disruptors could collapse them in seconds, but the most important intelligence was coming from the monitoring stations the aliens had established throughout the solar system. They thought they were watching over a harmless species, but Dr. Patricia Wells had turned their own surveillance against them. They're using quantum entanglement for communication, she reported to Director Paul Green. But their encryption is basic. We can read every message they send. What are they saying about us? Green asked. They're bored, Wells replied with a smile. They think we're developing exactly as expected for a primitive species. They see no signs of advanced technology or hidden capabilities. The aliens were watching human ships patrol the solar system, never realizing that the real defenses were hidden in dimensional space. They monitored human communications, not knowing that the important messages were sent through quantum channels. They couldn't detect, most importantly, they were counting human military assets and finding exactly what they expected, a few hundred ships with basic weapons and limited range. They had no idea that humanity could deploy thousands of advanced warships within hours if needed. The deception is working perfectly, Admiral Lisa Campbell reported to President Helen Davis. They think they know everything about us, but they know nothing. How long can we maintain this? President Davis asked. As long as necessary, Campbell replied. Our people are trained for long-term operations. We can keep this up for years if we need to. But even as humanity celebrated their success, new threats were emerging in distant parts of the galaxy. The Krillian swarm was moving again, consuming worlds and growing stronger. The Zephyrian Empire was struggling to contain them, and their losses were mounting. Soon, the aliens would need help from their new human allies. And when that day came, humanity would have to decide how much of their true power to reveal. The deception had worked so far, but the real test was still ahead. In the Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador Claire Roberts concluded her presentation with a humble bow. We hope to prove worthy of your trust and friendship, she said. The council members voted, and the result was unanimous. Humanity would be granted limited membership in the galactic community, with restrictions on military development and territorial expansion. They would be watched and guided by their more advanced neighbors. Claire accepted the decision with appropriate gratitude, never letting her smile show how perfectly everything had gone according to plan. Humanity was now part of the galactic community, trusted and underestimated in equal measure. The real game was just beginning. The emergency alert reached Earth at 3:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Admiral Lisa Campbell was pulled from sleep by her secure communication device, the red light flashing with urgent priority codes she had hoped never to see. Admiral, we're getting distress signals from across the galaxy, reported Colonel Steve Martin from the Strategic Command Center. Something big is happening. Campbell rushed to the command center, still pulling on her uniform. The main display showed a map of known space, with red warning indicators spreading like a disease across the outer rim territories. Entire star systems were going dark. What are we looking at? Campbell asked. The Krillian swarm, Martin replied. Grimly, they've broken through the outer defenses and are moving toward the core worlds. The Zephyrian Empire is calling for help from every member of the Galactic Council. President Helen Davis arrived minutes later, her face pale with concern. The Situation Room filled quickly with military advisors and government officials, all trying to understand the scope of the crisis. How bad is it? President Davis asked Dr. Patricia Wells. Monitoring alien communications from her hidden facility provided the grim details. 17 star systems have been completely destroyed in the past 48 hours. The Krillian swarm is unlike anything the galactic community has faced before. On the main screen, intercepted alien transmissions showed the horrifying reality. The Krillians were not just another hostile species, they were a collective consciousness that consumed entire worlds, turning matter into more of themselves. Their ships looked like massive black insects, moving in perfect coordination as they devoured everything in their path. The Zephyrian fleet is being destroyed, Wells continued. Their weapons barely scratch the Krillian ships. Their shields are useless against Krillian cutting beams. They're losing 3 ships for every one they managed to damage. High Commander Vextel's desperate message reached Earth an hour later. The proud alien leader who had once looked down on humanity now spoke with panic in his voice. Human allies, the Galactic Council requests immediate assistance, Vextel said through the translation system. The Krillian swarm threatens all life in the galaxy. We need every ship, every weapon, every resource you can provide. Ambassador Claire Roberts, watching from the Galactic Council station, saw the fear in alien eyes that had never known defeat. The council chamber was in chaos as representatives from 12 species tried to coordinate a defense against an enemy that seemed unstoppable. The Kaleri have lost their entire home fleet, Roberts reported to Earth. The Threnody warriors are retreating for the first time in their history. Even the Mistani are abandoning their trade routes to focus on survival. Captain Ryan Hayes received new orders from Admiral Campbell. Take his mixed human-alien fleet to the front lines and assess the situation. But these weren't the real orders. The secret mission was to gather intelligence on Krillian technology while maintaining humanity's cover as a primitive species. Sir, the alien crews are terrified, reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim as they traveled toward the battle zone. They've never seen anything like this Krillian technology. Hayes studied the tactical reports coming from the front lines. The Krillian ships seemed to adapt to every weapon used against them. Energy beams were absorbed and reflected back. Projectile weapons were stopped by fields that turned matter into energy. Worse, the Krillians learned from every attack, becoming stronger with each battle. They're not just destroying our ships, transmitted Captain Nancy Foster from her reconnaissance vessel. They're studying them. Every tactic we use, they counter. Every weapon we fire, they improve their defenses against. But in our hidden laboratory aboard the Hughes Ranger, Dr. Wells was making a discovery that would change everything. The Krillian technology, as advanced as it appeared, had a fundamental weakness that the galactic community couldn't exploit. Their adaptive systems work by analyzing energy signatures and matter frequencies. She reported to Earth through quantum communication. They can defend against anything they understand. But our quantum-based weapons operate on principles they've never encountered. Director Paul Green received the report in his secure facility. For months, humanity had been hiding their true capabilities from the galactic community. Now, those same capabilities might be the only thing that could save all known life. Are you certain our weapons would be effective? Green asked. More than certain, Wells replied. The Krillians adapt to conventional physics, but our quantum disruptors operate outside normal space-time. Our dimensional barriers exist in parallel realities they can't access. Our transspatial weapons strike from directions that don't exist in their understanding of the universe. The weight of the decision fell on President Davis. For a year, humanity had maintained the deception that they were a primitive species barely worthy of galactic membership. Now, they faced a choice that would reveal the truth to everyone. If we help them, they'll know we've been lying, General Bob Pierce pointed out. They'll know we've had advanced technology all along. And if we don't help them, everyone dies, President Davis replied. Including us. The reports from the front lines grew worse by the hour. The Kaleri homeworld was under siege. The Threnody battle fleets were scattered and broken. Even the mighty Zephyrian Empire was retreating toward their core systems, abandoning outer colonies to the advancing swarm. The Nexus system is our last major stronghold, Vextel reported in another desperate transmission. If we lose it, the path to Earth and the other core worlds will be open. We estimate 6 days before total galactic collapse. Dr. Amy Richardson, monitoring alien biology from her research station, made another disturbing discovery. The Krillians aren't just consuming matter, she reported. They're consuming information. Every species they destroy, every technology they absorb, makes them smarter and more dangerous. Admiral Campbell stood before the massive display showing the galaxy-wide catastrophe. Red zones marked Krillian-controlled space, expanding like a cancer toward the remaining free worlds. At the current rate of expansion, Earth would be reached within 2 weeks. "Ma'am, we're receiving a personal message from High Commander Vexthal," reported Communication Officer Lisa Park. The alien leader appeared on screen, his proud bearing replaced by desperate humility. "Admiral Campbell, I know that humans are a young species with limited capabilities, but we need any help you can provide. Even your primitive plasma weapons might slow their advance." Campbell looked at the alien who had once dismissed humanity as crude and basic. The irony was not lost on her, but there was no satisfaction in it. The threat was too great for pride or revenge. "Commander, we'll do everything we can," Campbell replied. "Humanity won't abandon our allies." After the transmission ended, Campbell turned to President Davis. "It's time, isn't it?" President Davis nodded slowly. "Send the recall order to all hidden fleets." Authorization code? Revelation? It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is really capable of. The deception that had protected Earth for over a year was about to end. Humanity would reveal their true power. But would it be enough to stop an enemy that had already consumed half the galaxy? The answer would determine the fate of every living being among the stars. The Nexus system was dying. Captain Ryan Hayes watched through his ship's viewscreen as the last Zephyrian defense fleet fought desperately against the advancing Krillian swarm. Massive alien warships, once proud symbols of galactic power, were being torn apart like paper by the black insect-like vessels of the enemy. "Sir, we're receiving final transmission from the Zephyrian command ship," reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim, her voice tight with tension. High Commander Vexthal appeared on the communication screen, his bridge sparking with damage around him. "Human vessels, retreat while you can. Our shields are failing, our weapons are useless. The Krillians adapt to everything we throw at them." Hayes looked at his small fleet of 5 ships, the same vessels that had pretended to struggle against 3 Zephyrian ships just months ago. Around him, alien crews from a dozen species worked frantically at their stations, believing they were humanity's best hope for survival. "Commander, we're not leaving," Hayes said calmly. "Humanity doesn't abandon its allies." Vexthal's expression was filled with desperate gratitude. "Your courage honors your species, Captain. But your primitive weapons cannot succeed where our advanced technology has failed." Hayes smiled, touching a hidden control panel that only he could see. "Commander, there's something you need to know about humanity. What you've seen from us so far represents approximately 1% of our true capabilities." Before Vexthal could respond, Hayes activated the quantum communication system. "All human vessels, this is Captain Hayes, authorization code revelation confirmed. Drop all camouflage and reveal true configurations." The transformation was impossible to believe. The 5 human ships began to change before the stunned eyes of every alien in the system. Hulls that had appeared damaged and primitive suddenly flickered and revealed their true forms. The ships grew larger as holographic projections fell away, exposing weapon arrays that covered their entire surfaces. "What is this?" Vexthal whispered, his glowing eyes wide with shock. "This is humanity," Hayes replied, the U's guardian. Hayes's flagship was no longer the small escort vessel the aliens had known. It was a massive dreadnought bristling with quantum disruptors, dimensional cannons, and weapons that existed in parallel realities. Its shields weren't the basic energy barriers the aliens expected. They were quantum fields that could deflect attacks from other dimensions. Captain Nancy Foster's ship, the UES Ranger, revealed advanced stealth systems that made it nearly invisible to normal sensors. Colonel Steve Martin's vessel, the UES Defender, deployed weapon systems that could tear holes in space itself. Captain Lisa Park's ship, the U's Vigilant, activated dimensional barriers that existed outside normal physics, but the most shocking change was the UES Sentinel, commanded by Captain Mike Chun. The small patrol ship suddenly revealed itself as a massive carrier, and from its hidden bays came hundreds of smaller craft that shouldn't have been able to fit inside. "Impossible," breathed Commander Yalth from his Zephyrian bridge. "The mass readings, the energy signatures." "How did you hide this from our sensors?" "We've been hiding a lot of things," Hayes replied. "Dr. Wells, you may begin the demonstration." "Doctor." Patricia Wells, no longer concealed in a hidden laboratory but standing openly on the Guardian's bridge, activated the quantum disruptor array. The weapon system operated on principles that the galactic community had never imagined. Instead of simply firing energy at the enemy, it reached into parallel dimensions and attacked the Krillian ships from directions that didn't exist in normal space. The effect was immediate and devastating. The first Krillian vessel, a massive dreadnought that had been immune to all alien weapons, suddenly began to dissolve at the molecular level. Its adaptive shields, designed to absorb and reflect conventional attacks, had no defense against weapons that struck from outside reality itself. "Quantum disruptors are effective," Wells reported calmly. "Target destroyed with minimal power. Expenditure." The Krillian swarm, which had been advancing with mechanical precision, suddenly stopped. For the first time in their existence, they had encountered something they couldn't understand or adapt to. Their collective consciousness struggled to process weapons that operated outside the laws of physics as they knew them. Hayes targeted the second Krillian ship with dimensional cannons. These weapons didn't fire projectiles or energy beams. They created localized distortions in spacetime that caused matter to fold in on itself. The enemy vessel imploded without ever being touched by anything in normal space. "Dimensional weapons functioning normally," reported Captain Foster. "Enemy vessel eliminated." Captain Martin activated his transspatial torpedo systems. The weapons didn't travel through normal space to reach their targets. They opened doorways between distant locations and struck the enemy from impossible angles. Krillian ships that thought they were safely behind cover suddenly found themselves under attack from weapons that appeared inside their own hulls. "Transspatial strike successful," Martin reported. "Multiple enemy vessels destroyed." The alien crews watching this display could barely comprehend what they were seeing. Weapons that ignored shields, defenses that existed in other dimensions, and tactics that made no sense according to everything they knew about warfare. "How is this possible?" Vexthal asked, his voice filled with awe and confusion. Admiral Lisa Campbell's image appeared on every screen in the battle zone, transmitted from Earth through quantum communication systems the aliens had never detected. "Commander Vexthal, humanity has been developing advanced technology for much longer than you realized. What you've seen from us over the past year was deliberately chosen to appear primitive. But why?" asked Ambassador Claire Roberts from the Galactic Council station, where alien representatives watched in stunned silence. "Why hide your true capabilities?" "Because power without wisdom is dangerous," Campbell replied. "We needed to understand the galactic community before revealing our true nature. We needed to know whether we could trust you with the knowledge of what we're capable of." The battle continued, but it was no longer a battle, it was a demonstration. Human weapons systematically dismantled the Krillian swarm using technology that seemed like magic to the watching aliens. Ships that had been unstoppable were destroyed with casual ease. The collective consciousness that had consumed half the galaxy found itself facing an enemy it couldn't understand, adapt to, or defeat. "The Krillian threat is neutralized," Hayes reported as the last enemy vessel dissolved under quantum fire. "All hostile forces in this system have been eliminated." The silence that followed was profound. Thousands of alien ships floated in space, their crews trying to process what they had witnessed. The primitive humans they had pitied and patronized had just accomplished in minutes what the entire galactic community couldn't do in months. President Helen Davis's image joined Admiral Campbell on the communication channels. "To our allies in the Galactic Council, humanity wishes to make something clear. We chose to hide our strength not out of fear, but out of wisdom. The galaxy needed guardians, not conquerors. We have been watching and learning about all of you. She continued. We needed to understand your cultures, your values, and your intentions before revealing our true capabilities. Today, you have seen approximately 1% of humanity's actual military power. High Commander Vextel, his pride shattered but his respect infinite, spoke for all the alien species. Humanity, we owe you our lives and our freedom. We understand, now that we have much to learn from you. The Galactic Council's emergency session was unlike anything in their history. Every species voted unanimously to grant humanity full leadership status in the galactic community. The restrictions on human development were removed, and Earth was recognized as the galaxy's primary protector, but humanity's response surprised them again. President Davis declined absolute authority, instead proposing a true partnership where all species contributed their strengths to common defense and progress. We didn't reveal our power to rule over you, she explained. We revealed it to protect all of us. The galaxy is stronger when we work together, each species contributing what they do best. In the weeks that followed, human technology began to transform the galaxy. Quantum communication networks connected distant worlds instantly. Dimensional barriers protected planets from future threats. Transspatial engines allowed travel across the galaxy in hours instead of months, but the most important change was in how the species of the galaxy saw each other. The humans had proven that true strength came not from the power to destroy, but from the wisdom to know when and how to use that power. Captain Hayes stood on his bridge, looking out at the peaceful system where the battle had raged, the Krillian. Threat was ended, the galaxy was safe, and humanity had finally revealed their true place among the stars. The deception was over. The real partnership was just beginning.